This is 30 Podcast. Starring Ray Bridgewater, JC Farage, Brandon Logan Enigma.
The reason you're so talented. This is for those who could relate to that topic. You know, the ones that are considered gifted, the ones that are could multitask, are multi-talented. This was for you guys. You know, as a person who is multi-talented, I always thought, why do I do this? One of the things that always sticks to me is I've been playing guitar for the last 20 years, but I always wonder, like, why did I like guitar? Why did I play guitar? Why is this my thing? You know, I think we all have a thing we do. And, you know, analyzing it, smoking on it, I've also I shared my opinion of this with the guys, but now I'm sharing it with you guys. You know, come to take it back to the root of all these things that I like, I've always realized it was a product of a type of trauma. It was a product of wanting to be good enough, wanting to be exceptional, wanting to be better, wanting to be a lot of things, and also a product of being hurt. One of the quick, stories I have is, I was in a band, probably like 8th grade or something, a garage band we had in the neighborhood, and we would practice. We were shit, but we try to play together and try to be a band. But as we went into high school, one day I went into the garage and there was another guitar player in there, older guy, maybe in 11th grade or something like that. And now keep in mind, I wasn't so good at guitar or anything like that. I was just learning. But the guy came in, right, with the Nirvana shirt and all that, ripped jeans, and started.
You already knew you were toast.
Yeah, just by the way he looked, like, completely, and then already intimidated, right? And the guy, plugs in his Stratocaster. I have $100 guitar. He probably has like a $600 guitar. Anyway, starts playing "Smells Like Teen Spirit." Knocks it out the fucking park. The drummer, that intro that comes in with "Smells Like Teen Spirit."
Yeah,
the one that goes. So I had never heard my drummer sound this good ever before. No time before the practices or anything like that.
He didn't have a guitarist that good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good one. So he just goes off, and I'm just like, wow, this band sounds better than ever. And they continue to do their own thing. And on the side, one of the guys pulls me over. I think it was the drummer, actually. Pulls me over and goes like, "Hey, Mike, we got a new guitar player. Sorry." Without kind of trying to tell me that I'm out of the band. And then I realized it, though. I could tell, like, everybody was just looking at me kind of sad. And I was just like, oh, okay, all right, that's cool. Now I understand. And I just remember, like, that summer listening to them practice. Like, imagine waking up to them practicing in the garage next to you. And I told myself, I'm gonna be the greatest guitar player ever. So I realized, I started to take the craft very serious because I was left out. So to me, I didn't know it at the time, but I was doing that. I was learning guitar for all the wrong reasons, and I believe a lot of us could relate. You think about the guy that got dumped, or the girl that got dumped. They're going to the gym. They're bettering themselves. They're fueling themselves with that. They're fueling themselves with the failure of it, the embarrassment. That's what's driving them. And I realize, for the multi-talented person, we've done that our whole lives. Picked up a bunch of different talents.
But it's driven by like some sort of, it's almost like a superhero or a villain arc, right? Like something that hurt you that made you want to never feel that hurt again, so you became really good at it.
Yeah, like for you, say, I'm sure you have a basketball story of wanting to be a part of it.
Basketball filming, anything anything that I do now at a specific type of level now had definitely is the product of me feeling excluded, feeling like I didn't belong, or feeling like I wasn't, and the whole all the cliches, pick last, too short. So definitely, definitely has some kind of push towards why I do what I do, and why I go hard at playing basketball. Like even now, even to this day.
Yeah, like we all do. You know, anybody. It's well, I'm talking specifically to the ones that are like multi-talented, because I feel that, that's a deep level of trying to like I don't know if it's being accepted, or a deeper level of never feeling like you're good enough. I remember like in first grade, bro, and people are gonna relate to this. There was a gifted like a gifted test everybody got that was gonna determine what kind of classes you were in. Back in the 90s, there was such thing as gifted classes. I don't know if they do that today. I know they're trying to include everybody now, according to the teachers I know. So, but back in that time, it was definitely gifted classes, and I remember that they told me, "Oh, you're gifted," and that always stuck with me. It was like a prideful thing. It's like, "Oh, I'm gifted. I'm better." And all my classes, I was always the lower grade in them. So I was in fourth grade, but I was like in fifth grade classes almost, and in sixth grade I was with like seventh grade classes. It was weird, but I just remember, like I just recently I saw a video on TikTok, and the girl was like, when they told us we were gifted, so now we're trying to impress everybody. And I was like, wait a second, she might be onto something here, because I've never heard no one speak on that, you know? And I was like,
Right.
that's true. Like, I do feel like a constant, not now so much, but especially, oh, growing up, definitely like a constant wanting to be just as good as my peers, just as talented. It was like a competition within myself of how many things I could learn. I just thought that was interesting. I like to get, you guys' thoughts on is what is talent, and is it a good thing? Is talent a good thing when you know, or do you spread
Talent can
yourself
only
thin at
get you
one
so
point?
far. Well,
Yeah,
you do. Remember I always say master of none. What's the other one? Master of none, jack of all trades. Yeah. So I say that because I never wanted to perfect anything. I just always wanted to be good enough at it to feel like I belong, if ever, you know. So that always was like kind of like the driving force, I think, for basketball for sure. Because I always like would underperform in situations where I put a lot of stock into. Like a lot of people, it was probably just another Sunday to them, but for me, it was like Super Bowl Sunday, because it was like a stage to show everyone that I could play, and I belong here. And where's I guess where I belong here, what I meant by that, is just on the basketball court and just not being like overlooked. So a lot of times I would go out there with a chip on my shoulder and play even more worse or something like that. But
uh,
as I got older, I stopped like caring about that stuff, like in a sense of like caring where I play at, and who do I'm trying to impress. I just play, and that has been, unfortunately, it's hitting me in my later years. So it's like I'm like you obviously get exhausted and you get tired, and the recovery time isn't the same. But it's like going out there and like the other day you asked me, it's like, this is what this all is about? Scoring a dub and a loss? It's like, nah, bro. But I was like, I went off, I was like, when the last time you heard me just say I went off, and then like
yeah.
it's
Well, if you
it feels
recall,
good to go. It feels good to just be in that zone.
yeah,
It's like if I could if we could retract even back to the addiction episode, and that's another addiction right there that I really like, and that's a thrill as well
yeah,
that I really like, is heating up and
yeah,
staying in that zone. JC knows it because JC had got hot from three before like that too. So it's like that's just a zone, something I could relate to in the sense of like when you say, but like my main thing though is talent can only get you so far. That's why I am a master and not a jack of all trades, because I never sharpen all the stuff to be good, like the master at all of them. I've always done it to an extent and then move on to the next thing.
Yeah. JC, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm a little. Uh, so the question was, is talent a bad thing? No, talent is not a bad thing. Uh, I was trying to really pay attention to what you're saying and where you were going with this. Um, no, I never picked up anything that I was interested in. I never had. The motivations were always different. When I got into guitar, I got into it because I just liked it and I liked the sound of guitar and I thought guitar was cool. And so I decided to get guitar classes. It wasn't because I thought I seen someone that was better than me and it motivated me. Now, I got into basketball because I wanted to impress a girl. That's the only reason why I wanted to get into it. It had nothing to do with anybody challenging me or saying that they're better than me or I saw anybody that was better than me. But then it quickly changed because when that didn't work with the girl liking the fact that I played basketball, it changed into okay, now I got to prove myself that I could play this. And I fell in love with the game and I wanted to get better at it. And then obviously that took time and then it took competition and then I started seeing other people better than me. And then I had the motivation of people making fun of me saying that I was never going to be good enough. So and then after that, it changed to okay, well, I already got to this. Like, I proved that I can get to the level. I proved myself that I can be a team player, that I can participate in these things. And I stuck with basketball, and I didn't try to pick up anything else after that. Like, my main focus, if I was going to get good at basketball, it had to be that. I remember my coach from Belmont saying, like, if you're going to get good at something, no other distractions could be in the way. So I couldn't focus on any other talents. I'm sure maybe I did, and maybe I had other gifts or talents that I could have done, but I never pursued them because I picked on one and stayed on one. Now, it also depends on the parents are always driven you or driving you to push you to do certain talents or certain things because maybe they did it as a kid and they didn't get pushed enough, so their responsibility is now to push it on you so you can carry on that mantle. Now take example this whole draft thing with Bronny James and everything as well. He's being pushed right now. The only reason why people are talking about him because he's the son of LeBron James, but they're not talking about his talent. They're not talking about how well of a basketball player he is. They're just talking about him because of his name.
Yeah, he's gonna be like the
So
54th pick or something, and they're making a big fuzz, you know?
exactly, but they're not talking about any other basketball player right now. Nobody cares about the number one pick right now. Nobody gives a shit.
That's
He's
true.
from France. Nobody cares. So he's talented, yes, right? We're talking about talent. He's a talented guy, sure. I've never seen him play, but he's the number one projected pick. So talent is not a bad thing. It can lead to bad things. It can lead to pride. It can lead to you wanting to overdo it, and then you overdo it, and then you hurt yourself or you hurt others. But I think having these gifts are always a gift from God, and He's the one that gives us these abilities to do things. He's the one that elevates us to go well. I think God gives these gifts to doctors to be able to find cure for certain diseases and certain medical issues. That's how I think He heals the world, opposed to some Christian guy saying he walks over them and puts his hand on and said all of a sudden he can walk. So a talent is a good thing. I don't see it as a bad thing, but it can be viewed as a bad thing. It could hurt people in different ways.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, like, when is talent a bad thing?
Once it's affecting everybody around you, once it is affecting you and your obsession is what takes over, the pride of it takes over, and you think you're better than everybody else, I think is when it becomes a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing when Brandon talked about being in the zone. Yeah, I love that feeling. There is a movie called a Disney movie that was done, a jazz movie that was very interesting because he talked about when he would get into the zone, it's like being in a whole nother world. Like, and it's a rush. It's a great
Yeah,
feeling.
yeah, yeah.
And all the NBA LeBron talked about when he played the Celtics in a game, I think it was Game 4 against the Celtics when he was in Miami, and he went off for 45. Like he's like, I love that feeling. He's like, I wish I always had that feeling.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling to have. I love it too. Like nothing in the world matters but being in that moment, in that present moment. And that's why it's preached to always be in the moment of instead of being in the past or the future.
Yeah, I'm a second that. I would agree with what he said about how Tyler would be bad when you're obviously you're good. I give you an example right now. When I play in an adult league on Saturday and have this very like star-studded team on Saturday. We won a championship last season, but we won it because everybody fell into their roles. Now the star player this season has more. He's more like a daisical. He doesn't want to. He does not taking it serious. So last Saturday proved it when he literally blocked his own teammates' free throw. I'll say that again. He literally blocked his own teammates' free throw, which then cost us the game because they sent it to overtime forcefully, sent it to overtime and proceed to play around and we lost the game. And a lot of people were mad and upset because we're not like him. You know, he's a phenomenal basketball player, goes league to league, plays in a lot of high time leagues, a lot of big time leagues for money, tournaments. We're just weekend warriors, you know. We work we work 9 to 5s.
Defo
You know,
thinks
we
you guys
have
are there for
dreams.
him, huh?
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's like I felt the most disrespected, and obviously the group chat was furious. So that's just an example of somebody where talent could be bad because as you can see, like if he respected just playing basketball, he would have just crushed and that would be the disrespect. You know what I mean? He didn't have to make it seem like it was that easy for him. But in my eyes, like that was probably the worst thing to be a part of ever, like basketball wise, to see someone do that. But it just goes back to what JC was saying about when the talent, how talent can be bad is if you know you're talented and you got all these gifts, but instead of just uplifting people and you know helping them win, you sabotage the game and make mockery of the game that everyone loves that they here to play. So
I think the word talent is has been spread thin. You know, everything is a talent now. You know what I mean? Like you could drive as a talent. You could do this as a talent. You could cook to talent. You could walk. You feel me? At this point, I just think that I do believe though that there is God given gifts, but I don't think they're talents. I don't think it's a talent thing that you got. I think you learn these things. You pick up these things. Just like the person who could make a gun, gifted person made a gun, but the gun is used for bad things in certain situations. So it's like, can we say, is it these revelations of inventions and stuff, the phone, that's a talented guy, whoever put that phone together. That guy's very talented, but these things are being used mostly negatively.
Yeah,
I'm
but that
sure the
blame
guy who invented like the doorknob didn't think that some dude would, put his asshole on it. You get me? Like there's could be everything like
Yeah.
but that falls on the consumer, not the creator. The creator has nothing to do with what us as the consumer does with it. If a creator creates a gun for a specific reason, but everybody else wants to use it for evil, that's not his fault.
No, it's not his fault, but um, I'm saying we don't really know people's intentions behind their talents. So I suggest those who are talented to inspect themselves and wonder, why do I do this? Do I really like music, or do I make music because I want people to worship me? You got to ask yourself as a creator, why do you do these things? That's if you're willing to work on yourself. Some people will never ever question themselves. They'll just
because they like
live.
the way it live. Yeah, they like the way it is. They like because when you're not in any type of discomfort, you're comfortable, so that
Yeah.
you're not feeling that pressure. You know, like if you feel like your back's up against the wall, you might shit. I might fold.
Yeah, so I mean that's the thing. Like if you're willing, these are things that are like revelations to me on my own time. I don't read these things anywhere. I don't look for them anywhere. They just kind of come to me, and I just think about it. Like I picked up a guitar in third grade. Why? I don't know, but I did, and then it just became a thing about me. It was like the guitar guy, and I think I think about my friends too. Some of the friends I grew up with, like their talent, so called thing, is also their life. It's also their lifestyle. You're a talented guitar player. Let me guess, you're a metalhead as well, and you look like that, and you listen to that. It becomes an identity of yours. I think
That's what I was
that's
about to say. It's an identity, but you got to understand at the moment you weren't self-aware of these things, so everybody has to pick a lane, has to pick a side in order to survive in these things, because if you don't, then you get left out in the loneliness.
yeah.
So you have to pick these things in order to fit in with everybody, because if you don't, then you're outed really quick. And there's
Uh,
a lot of people that I remember got outed really quick because they didn't pick a side, going back to the Virgil days. Either you're a rocker or you're a rapper, and if you're not, then you're nothing. You know. So it's
yeah.
like you have to pick a side. You have to do these things in order to survive. As you get older, either you'll realize these things and not identify with these things, or you will always continue to identify with these things. They'll become your identity for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and you make a great point when you say you're trying to survive. And that's my other point is the reason the moment you became talented, for all those people who consider themselves talented, quote unquote, but um, the moment you became talented was the moment you escaped into your imagination as a kid. The moment you could no longer bear the heaviness of whatever was going on at the time. There's a certain moment, certain day even, that you escape into your mind. By that I mean you start living by dreams. I wish I had a better life. I wish I had more food in the fridge. I wish my dad wasn't whatever. My mom wasn't this. I wish. Oh man, I wish I had more. Oh, those kids got more. I wish I had that. I wish I had a new escape. You start wishing, you start imagining, you start living in an imagination. And then in the imagination, which is not of God's, by the way, but in your imagination, is where you create these talents. You pick up um just things. And the reason you're picking them up is because the thing inside of you wants to find something to find an identity in. So it's looking for an identity, and it's trying to tell you kind of, oh look, you might be good at this. You might be good at that. I think about the parents that take their kids and the parents who like to take their kids to like pee-wee leagues. I could see how that builds a kid's ego. They're telling them, "Oh my God, you're so good. You should play. You should." And now that kid might find an identity in that, but we don't know. I guess it's the question between me and the creator is like, I don't know if that's from you or not. I don't know if that was the parents who installed that in the kids. I mean, do you think Bronny likes playing basketball? I'm just saying.
Well, he like enjoys playing video games. It looks like he has a choice. I think a lot of people have options. Like my people's wasn't. They wanted me to do something, but ultimately understood from a young age that I was different. That I don't march at the same beat. You know what I mean? As in, I always knew that. Well, what if I didn't want to do that? That was my thing. Like I remember like getting like back in the day you get spanking, so it's like I'm getting spanked. I'm like this doesn't help.
You're catching spanks.
Well, going back to what you said, does Bronny James want to play basketball? LeBron James admitted it in the very beginning or a while back that he fucked up by naming his son exactly his name.
Mm,
He'd realized it right away after.
yeah.
And that's why he changed his name to Bronny James instead of LeBron James Jr.
Oh, his name was
So
LeBron James Jr.?
his name is
Oh, I didn't know
LeBron
that.
James, but he had to change it to Bronny because he didn't want to have that pressure on him.
Yeah, like get your own
So
identity, low key.
so yeah, is there a certain aspect that he feels like he has to commit to this bit now? Yeah, he does.
He
He
does.
does.
But what's to
So
say that the guy doesn't go play a few years in the NBA and then retires and just become a fucking G4 game host? Like that would be the best for him
But
at the
yeah,
end of the
that's what
day.
I'm saying. But that's what I'm getting at. He's doing to please his father because it's his father's legacy, and it's always incumbent on the son to always carry. If,
Yeah.
for example, if back in the day, if he was a king, let's say if he was a real king, he would have to take the mantle of his father no matter what, even no if, ands, or buts.
It's
That's
like
just how.
David and Solomon.
So
Mm-hmm.
You
wait,
know,
you guys don't consider Michael Jordan a king
Mm,
because there was no moniker of king in his name because his name was
no,
your
no,
airness.
no, no,
I
no,
mean, we're not
no.
talking about Michael, but I get what you're
No,
saying.
so no,
Like,
it's not about that. I'm talking about his kids didn't take the fucking mantle and run
his
with
son's
it.
too
They,
busy
They
piping
tried
down
though.
Scottie Pippen's
They
girl.
tried. They
no,
tried
bro, they
to
didn't want it. They didn't want it, dog.
because they
His
weren't good
first son,
enough.
his
They weren't
eldest
good
son,
enough.
his old and Bronny average. Come on, dog. Bronny needs like 3 years. I'm not gonna go averages because he had the heart stuff, but he needs about 2 more years in college. He is not a pro right now, he's not.
I
You
will
could if you
no.
watch this game, he doesn't attack. He needs to be set up. He's a great shooter, great defender. He can pass good, but he's not a dog yet because he doesn't. He's what's the Gilbert Arenas say? He's like a Ferrari with like a Prius engine or something like that. He said like you don't. He's not going full throttle yet, and it's like I see it. And if he does get drafted, I hope he goes to G League. I hope his pride or ego doesn't get hit. But I hope he goes and kills in G League. Don't be like D Wade's son. You know what I'm saying? He out in Africa somewhere playing ball.
Two points. Jordan's kids didn't get his genetics of their father, and it was a different time and a different era. LeBron James' son did get his genetics, not fully, but he got most of it, the athleticism and all that stuff, and the ability to do these things. So I think that's why there's a little bit of difference, and I think LeBron James' son cares a little bit more than Jordan's sons did at the moment. So,
Bronny had college scholarships out the womb, dog. You know what I'm
okay,
saying?
but he had a heart attack. We
Like
can't forget about that. Like
I
he
just
literally
I
almost
know
died.
that's what I'm saying. But my point is that like he doesn't necessarily need to do this because there's people with great Hall of Fame fathers that didn't follow their footsteps. I'm not talking about any type of sport. They didn't follow in their father's footsteps because they wanted to make their own lane. And it's okay if he doesn't want to play basketball, but like I said, he's pretty good at it. But he is not an NBA player. I think
But
right
yeah, I
now
think,
he
but
is.
we're
He's
agreeing with you. He's not. We're not saying that he is. I'm only saying that he has to in this aspect because of how important his father is. If his father wasn't as important or the face of the NBA, he probably wouldn't have joined the NBA. He probably would have just stayed to gaming and stuff like that. But the fact that his father is LeBron James, he has to at least put his best foot forward and give it the old college try and say, you know what? I went out there, I tried, it didn't work out, leave me alone now, instead of just never doing it and then people saying, oh well, you were just scared, you didn't have the heart for it. So the fact that he even has the heart, no pun intended, because of his heart, but
Jesus.
even though he went out, he at least people are like, oh well, at least he's making the attempt. That's a lot of pressure. Nobody wants that pressure, but he's willing to take on it and see what happens, and who knows, he might become a good player, but time will only tell. We're not going to be able to see it in the first,
It's
I don't
not that I don't want him to become a good player. It's like it's I just want him to just you know develop. Have Kyle Kuzma played 4 years, and he came into the league gunning like develop. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I think he should maybe play in the G League. Again, I don't think anybody's disagreeing with you that he's not developed fully yet. I think he should and take his time and we'll see. Hopefully he
I'm just
does
saying he's
decide.
not ready to take the mantle, is what I'm saying. That means if LeBron has to retire and then he comes on, then that's what has to be. I think there's just so hard at trying to get this whole we've never had a father and son play in the NBA. That's like an NBA call,
I like
because
that
It's
call.
cool
MLB did it.
though. It's cool to see though
It
because
is,
it's
dog,
never
and
gonna
I would love
happen
to see
again.
it. I
That's
would
the
love to
only
see it, but
accolade LeBron doesn't have.
let's be real. It's not what you're gonna think it's gonna be. It's not gonna be Bronny James down the line. It's gonna be Bronny James checking in at a 20-point blowout. Crowd goes nuts. LeBron fucking does the stupid slap on the ground for the defense. You know what I mean? Like, come on, dog.
You want to see it though,
Oh,
no
Of
matter
course I
what.
do.
Want to
man,
see
to see
it.
a
I
alley
want
oop
that.
from Bronny to
I might cry.
LeBron would be crazy, bro. That'll be the first time in NBA history. LeBron will go down as the GOAT just by that, I think. Like playing with your son, bro. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, that'd be
It's
sick.
the
That's some
beautiful
Ken. That's
story
a, that's
behind it.
a
That's
that's Ken
it.
Griffey. That's Ken Griffey Jr. status right there. That's the only people to ever do it in any major sport. Ken Griffey Jr. Senior, Ken Griffey Jr. hit a home run in the same game.
Oh, no
Beautiful,
way. For
amazing,
real?
amazing.
How old
Yeah,
was his
it was
dad?
amazing. The dad was like he was out. He was on his way out. Let's just say he was on his way out.
Dude,
He was a designated hitter, so he just had to. He
yeah,
just went
just
out there and
hit.
hit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's give him a round of applause. I mean, I do believe I like to see that. I get both, I get it. But I would like to see LeBron and Bronny play at least. Just for that picture, I think that's NBA history right there, bro. And they're so
Yeah, that's
close to
dope.
it. So like JC said, the son does feel a responsibility to carry out, especially when you're from a prestige or well-renowned family. You feel the need to live
Everyone
up
wasting
to
all the
that.
good surprise on him. They need to wait for Bryce.
Look
Bryce
at
is
look
next
at
up.
Joe Biden. Like his son had to live up to. Dude ended up, and all types of shit.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of pressure to live up to your father, I guess.
Look, I
Yes.
even give you another one. Kobe never had a son. He had a
Right,
daughter. He had several
right,
daughters at that, and he never
right.
was able to get
Just
that
daughters.
son. And he may have wanted to. I think he did, but he conformed, and he's like, you know what? But my daughter's gonna take that mantle too now, and she was willing to. She was the only one that Gigi was the only one willing to. The other three, I think, well, the other ones were young, but the oldest one, like not Chales. I'm not playing basketball, but
Nah, she didn't
Gigi
have
No,
was
a
no.
the one.
basketball bone in her body, dude. Like,
Yes,
Gonna
but
go
Gigi
play.
was
See, I'm
like, you
gonna
know
be an
what?
actor.
I'm gonna be that for my dad, and again, it comes at like I want to make my dad proud type of thing.
yeah, yeah.
She's gonna turn up.
I like in my personal experience, I never had to. I think that the only way I felt like I was carrying my dad's legacy is because, obviously the first guitar that ever entered my house, I was like, whoa, what's that thing? And my dad brought it in, and little when I actually visited the motherland, I realized that all my cousins that look like me, by the way, um, they all played guitar, and I just remember watching them all and thinking like, man, this is so funny. Like, obviously, I
Mhm.
would play guitar, like, but
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing I could think of that somehow naturally I was trying to preserve my dad's legacy in some way, in a small way, like without even realizing it. I was learning guitar to impress my father, but then look at the mess you made me make. You know what I mean? It made me start singing to girls, start using it to seduce women, like, and then making
Seduce girls.
music. I mean, what, bro? Like, you pull out a guitar and you start playing "Drive" by Incubus. Come on, you know what I mean? Pe-
I
Like,
only played originals.
oh, Brandon. Oh, do you know any Incubus?
Yeah, sure. From a distance.
I never heard that one. But yeah, like that. I started using it for my advantage. You know what I mean? Like, I started to use these things. You feel me? Like, even like, because I know that some kids at a young age get really good at lying, so they grow up to be these very well speakers because they're always finding a way with their words, either like mostly for bad. Um, but yeah, like that's the only thing I could think of. I don't know about you guys. Do you guys feel like you're doing anything in your life subconsciously or consciously to carry out your father's legacies?
Playing
So,
guitar.
so I will add to this. Unfortunately never had the ability to have my father and see the things that he did because he was not around at the moment. But as later on in life, when I got around the people that knew him best, there was this pressure on me, and they were putting this pressure on me to be exactly like him and do the things that he was doing because they felt like they saw the same characteristics in me that he had as well. So at a certain point, there was like this expectation of me trying to be like him and do these things, and because they hyped him up a lot. They talked about a lot of great things that he supposedly did and stuff. Although I never witnessed it, but they talked about how good he was and the thing. Although we know that nobody was good, but in their minds, these were good things that he was doing. Creating these home shelters for people that were stuck with abusive drugs and had no place, sober living houses and stuff like that. He was like in charge of all those things, and doing events for kids to get Christmas presents and things like that. So for a moment, yeah, there was a little bit of that for me to try to be like him, but it wasn't the same because I didn't see it firsthand, so I couldn't really relate to it. But I still believe that there was an acceptance of understanding that yeah, that was my father. He was this and he was that, and I would try to do my best to be the best son that he always wanted as well. So yeah.
Yeah, JC showed me a picture of his dad. Man, he looked just like him, like the same
Yeah, I seen a
exact.
picture of his of his dad too. Definitely looked just like him. It was actually cool you got to reconnect with that side of your family though. I'm sure that helped out a little bit.
A bit, yeah. It was weird. It was awkward, but
Is it awkward
it
because
did
they look
help.
at you like you're not even there? They're just kind of seeing the person they knew, like your father,
A bit.
or they
That
separated you from who you actually were. You know what I mean?
No, because the main everywhere I went is like, oh, you look like your father. Oh, you look like him.
Right.
Oh,
They just
you look
kept
like
seeing you as their the one they
as
lost. You know?
mini me, or like
Yeah, yeah.
like, so that it did get annoying for a bit, but I had to like accept it. I was like, okay, fine, I get it,
They said
and I
it all the
kind of like
time.
all the time, every single time. And my dad
That's
knew a
not.
lot of people, so I got to meet a lot of people,
Mm.
pastors, priests,
But I guess what
ladies.
not to be funny, bro, but not that's not even funny. It's just actually just real. I look like my dad, and if he was with you all time, you just that's what would have just happened, bro. Like it's not like it just fucked up that at that time, like that was your only like So imagine if he was with you, that's what would have been happening every time you're with him. They would have been like, "Oh, you look just like your dad," because that's what happened to me. You look just like your dad. You look just like your dad. I still get that. I work at a place where he worked at for like 30 years.
Hey, we
So
all
it's
have
crazy.
that. Let's give ourselves a round of applause because we all have that in common. We all look like our dads, and I think that's cool. You know,
Yeah,
even though
that's right.
like the people, like the fathers, like the guys who have daughters first, they end up looking like the dad. Um, I've seen that a lot too. Like, um, they even say it like memes about that. Like the first daughter looks like the dad, and I see a lot of those TikToks. It's crazy, but yeah, I mean that's strange. I remember, like I said earlier, I went to the motherland and I met my family over there. From my dad's side, I'd never seen them, but I met them and they were looking at me the same way, you know, like, oh, yeah, it's a mini Miguel, you know. And it was crazy because I saw my granddad, rest in peace, but I saw him and he looked like just an older version of my dad, you know. And when I was leaving, I was too young to understand anything. Like I just wanted to go home at that point.
I wanted to touch on something that you said
One
earlier.
second, one second. So my granddad just right before I leave, he starts to cry and he goes like, "Why are you crying?" He's like, "Oh, because I'm never gonna see him again. I'm never gonna see him again." And I was just like, "Nah, we'll be back." You know, of course, as a young kid, you don't understand those words, but sure enough, I never saw him again. But just to wrap this point up, is like when it's funny because like when you see the son, you see the father. You know, it's like when I saw my granddad, I saw my dad, and then people see my dad, they see me, or you know what I mean? It's just connected like that. It's just amazing. So, round of applause. But go ahead.
No, I was gonna say is that you had mentioned about living in your head, and living with these identities and stuff, and it just reminded me of because I watched the newest Batman movie yesterday again. I had seen it before, the one with Robert Pattinson,
Okay.
and I uh, it just made me think a lot about vengeance and revenge, and I was kind of ties in a little bit um with a little bit of like talking about how some of these kids get revengeful because of the parents and the way they force them to do something, and in the end it doesn't that's not what they want to be or they don't want to do. So my question is vengeance or being revengeful always, is it a right answer? Is it just? Because I know for me, and I'll give an example of why I say this, is because the whole movie was themed about, oh, getting justice for the people that have hurt you or done you wrong. And I know I'm a person that, even back then, not as much now, but even still a little bit now, my first thought and my first idea is to get revenge when someone does something to me. And the reason why I say this is because the girl that I used to date before, I came across her on her TikTok thing, and I went on her live, and then she blocked me right away. And when she blocked me, my first instinct was like, how am I gonna get this bitch back? Like, how am I gonna hurt? Like, what am I gonna do to make her feel something the way you just made me feel for blocking me? Because I was in the idea of like, okay, it's been 2 years, maybe she's over it. I don't think there's any, for me, there's no bad feelings anymore. But maybe there is, but I didn't think of much of it. And so, is there any time that being vengeful or having revenge, and what thoughts come to your mind? Because I get some crazy wild ones. Like, I even get so far in like La La Land where I'm like, I'm gonna become this, I'm gonna make a song about her, and I'm gonna make that song so popular that she even likes it, and she's gonna like it so much that she's gonna come to my concert when I'm performing it, and I'm gonna sing her, point her out in the crowd, and like embarrass her. Like, that's how far it goes, even though it seems so far fetched. But that's how far my mind goes with revenge. And one of my favorite movies was The Count of Monte Cristo, and it's a great
Great
revenge.
movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie, and my mind just
Great book.
thinks like that. I want to get that. I want that feeling, that last word. So I want to know, how far has revenge or being vengeful have you guys gotten, or has it ever gotten to that point, or exaggerated in that aspect?
I think I did it when I was younger, teenage years. I I felt hurt. This girl broke up with me, so I started dating her younger cousin, and I went to her birthday knowing her younger cousin was there, so I came as her plus one, and I just wanted her to see me like make out with her.
You made me do this. You see me? It's because of you.
Come here. It's because you hurt me.
You just start grabbing her ass and shit.
Nah. It wasn't even that. It was so cringe. It was a cringy night. It was terrible. That was one of the nights I was like, I look back and I'm like, what are you doing? Who was this for? Like, did you? I was like,
Yeah,
on the ride back, I'm like, are you excited now? Like,
yeah,
what
yeah,
do you, what, like, this is embarrassing. I embarrassed myself pretty much,
yeah,
and ultimately, why that person probably never talks to me anymore, or never wanted to talk to me again. Because, like JC, I thought maybe the person would have got over it or something like that, and just decided to like, not just not mess with me anymore. So, and it's understandable because I did like a lot of things, not just that, but like things like like how far it was just this one person that made me very vengeful. It's crazy. It just because she like broke my heart. And I guess I didn't know how to deal with it because it was my first time getting like my heart actually broken, not like this made up thing. I just literally couldn't, like, I wasn't like I was crying or anything, but it was more like a damn, nice guys finish last. It just got into Green Day.
yeah. Uh,
So I like when looking back, I definitely like, I don't know if anyone's actually looking back, would you have done something different? Like, I think I never took the time to even look back at that part of my life to just right that wrong. I think sometimes we always look back at the things that could have made us millionaires, but I think I would go back in time where I lost a pretty good friend.
So out of your, how old are you again?
34.
34 years. Only one time you ever thought about revenge, and never again.
No, because for me, anger was like, oh, I want that one-on-one fade. It was never like, how could I systematically tear you down? It was never that. It was just if I felt some way, I let the person know, and if it wasn't reciprocated, then I know that person just didn't care enough to, so it wouldn't matter. Like I don't know. Like I said, that was the only time I ever felt like that was like what vindictive of me to do, like stuff like that. But when I look back and like other things, like I never. I guess if you want to count cheating, yes, I like definitely cheated on a girl because she cheated on me. Yes. Um, I guess it's not just one thing. I guess if I were to break it down like into like little minute things like that, yeah, there's a lot of things that I did just because it was done to me, and I think a lot of it stems from just like not knowing how to take, like having your heart broke. To be honest,
Would you
like
say
you
it's
want
the
to just
same? Would you say it's the same feeling as in when you were on a chase for a championship and there was those years that you kept losing in the finals? There wasn't a revenge aspect in that where you were like consistent, like I'm gonna get a championship by all means necessary. Is that a form of like revenge
well, if
or
you look at the tape when I celebrated, you could see like that like literally come out of me. Like I probably was the only one screaming because they didn't understand. Like I wanted to win this championship exactly, but it wasn't like any means necessary. But you know what? Who am I kidding? It wasn't any means necessary. I assembled one of the best teams I could assemble. You kidding me? I wanted that championship, and I was like you just said. Anything means that. Yeah, 100%. What is a revenge tour? No, revenge tour would be if I go to X League and bring that team. You know what I mean? Like that's a revenge tour for sure. But no.
okay?
Where did I go wrong? I lost a
I don't
friend
want to hear you sing. I want to hear your revenge story, Michael.
somewhere down
This is how he
bitterness.
deflects.
And I okay, I don't okay. Listen. The question is revenge ever justified?
Mm-hmm.
No, but we do it.
See, no, that's not the question. Because the question is,
It's never justified, but we still do it. Oh, have I ever? Of course, as a young
have
guy.
you had vengeance? Yes, have you had vengeance is the question.
Yeah, I burned down my ex-girlfriend's house. No,
That was just last Tuesday.
and that was just last Tuesday. Revenge. Well, I do understand. Yeah, go ahead.
The reason why the reason why I ask is like I want to see how far you were willing to take it.
Yeah,
Like even as far as like you want to commit
like
death.
kill him.
Like yes, like has it
Yeah.
ever gotten that far?
Yes.
To
Never
you
gotten
wanted
that
to
far.
choke the girl out and say fuck you for doing,
Never
and
gotten
not
that far.
necessarily a girl, but
No.
anything that made you took your mind to a deeper, darker place.
Well,
Nah,
check it out,
than what
guys. I know what you're talking about.
only
just
in my
cheating on
words.
somebody.
It's like this. Earlier in my life, I used to very involved with gangs, so my heart was evil. I mean, I'm not saying it's not no more, but I'm saying it was evil. So I had, oh yeah, I was on a revenge tour. I'm talking about anybody who wasn't from the hood. So yes, my heart was ready to take lives. So, but that's a different type of thing because I didn't know these people really. They never hurt me, but I wanted them hurt. You know what I mean?
I was
Yeah,
the
but
type of guy
at the
that would
time it
rather
felt
hurt
justified,
himself
right?
than actually like. I never had those. I could never. I don't know. I won't say I could never, but I would say that as of today, I've never had intentions of ever getting so mad to where by vengeance to lead me to some type of way of how I can kill them and get away with it. No,
Well, I'm
I
talking
know if
about
I
like
sit.
gangsters and gangs,
No,
bro.
I
You're
get
doing a
that.
drive-by.
No,
You don't know these people
there's
necessarily.
there's a different. No, there's a different. I'm pretty sure if you ask Caesar that he has a different opinion. You ask JC, he has a different opinion. But I'm just saying for me, I have not even people that I didn't like that I had to get down with, people that made fun of me, people that made me, like dislike a certain thing or dislike this, it gave me trauma, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
I don't even wish no ill will on them because it's like at the end of the day, it's like that shit is just gonna weigh on me. It's
It
gonna
it
bring
it,
me down,
it just hit me,
and I
bro.
just
Sorry, it just hit me. Like
mhm.
the only reason you will ever want revenge is because you're substituting that revenge towards your parents. Who you really want revenge towards is your parents. when I wanted to do all that stuff, it was really because I was mad at my parents. I was revolting, and I didn't need other people to get me mad to have so-called revenge. I didn't have to wait for you to trigger me. I was already triggered. So the revenge was deflected. I wanted revenge on my parents. I think every kid could identify with that. Everyone growing up could tell themselves, 99.9 of people growing up hated their parents in some way. They were impatient. They were lack of love. They didn't know how to guide you. They if anything, they just poured their BS on you. Or they were too strict, or they were making fun of you. They humiliated you. Your mother, humiliated you. So now you can't stand up to women. A bunch of different things happened. So I just realized right now, a revelation in real time, that the revenge was always towards my parents. So JC's revenge he's ever wanted, it's against your parents. Brandon, you ever wanted revenge? It's against your parents. Give it a round of applause.
Well, I can respect that, G. I see where you're coming from, but I don't know if I really view it for like from that viewpoint, because for me, I kind of always it never it's like there's just no connection
Well, you never
because
wanted revenge, right?
well, no, like I never wanted
So you didn't
revenge
have
in
that
that
problem.
sense. I didn't. I wasn't a rebel, I was just more of against the grain in the sense of doing something normal. So no, but what you were saying was too strict, all that stuff. You have some points that I could see, what you're saying, but it's like in that same realm, it's like I wasn't like in my room over here listening to Creed, like plotting their deaths. You know what I mean? Like
No, it's subconscious.
I
You will never really, you know what I mean? You will never
like
really
even
want to
like
do it,
yeah,
but it's
right. I get you.
subconsciously you outlet is something else. It's like the kid that grows up with a single mother, and it's berating him every day. When that kid goes to school, third grade, second grade, that kid's gonna act out. He's gonna let his
Right,
anger out on
right.
the first guy who does something to him.
Right. My thing was more of my peers, though. I think for me, it was more of my peers. I think my parents tried their best to help me be stronger in school, as opposed to like, oh, you being a bitch. They were
Yeah.
never like that to me. They were more of like, they don't understand your situation. They're talking about my
Well,
skin and
you
stuff.
did
They really don't
have
know
you
about.
did have both your parents, so that
Yes,
is a
correct.
difference as well. You had both your parents.
Well, no, yeah, of course. I'm just more of just stating that the question was posed to me if I ever felt
Yeah,
revenge, like to the point where I could lead to somewhere, some somewhat of a grisly demise of somebody,
yeah.
and no one will be staying in my possum kingdom.
That all goes back to the episode of the heart where we were talking about the sin and everything, and uh, that goes back to the heart thing. It's like we wish death on people without realizing we do, because we're so in our heads. But we are wishing for the worst. We are doing a lot of things when you're in that state of mind. And like I said, subconsciously, you don't ever want to hurt your parents. Like it's like the mother that dreams about killing their kids, and then they wake up and like, I feel terrible. I will never do that. But something in your subconscious is making you think that stuff, and then you're dreaming about it, and it's kind of maybe you're mad at the kids that they're overwhelming you. A lot of things could happen. They these things find outlets. My cousin told me when he went to county jail, he went in there for like 2 days or something, and when he was leaving, he said some guy walked in. I feel look pissed the fuck off, and then my cousin Marvin, he goes, yeah, that guy, bro, you don't want to pick a fight with that guy. And I was like, why you say that? He's like, because that guy has nothing to lose. He has years worth of anger in his heart, and if you test that, you're gonna find out that years of anger in his heart. You know?
What's that saying? If you got anger in your heart, let it out.
Oopsie. Let it out in the fucking punching bag, though. Go do some reps.
Yeah, go shoot a few hoops.
Go shoot some hoops. Go fall off a mountain. Um, what else?
Don't develop an unhealthy addiction. Develop a healthy addiction like eating celery or something.
And
The
you
only
know,
way you're gonna get rid of anger is by forgiving your parents, not boxing.
There it is.
I'm saying if you got Brandon said he's gonna let some anger out, then don't just let it out in anything. Go fucking hit a wall or something. But yes,
That's
the way
only
you get over
harnessing
anger
that's
is
only
forgive your
harnessing
parents.
it though.
No, I understand that. Yes, the only way to really
I
get
never
rid
said to
of.
hit a wall if you're gonna. I
No, I
never said
said that. I
anything
said
about
that.
when you're. Yeah.
No, JC's saying the overall solution to these anger and wanting to get revenge and all these stuff is to forgive your parents. That's 100% true, and that's a testament for
What is
me.
forgiving your parents to the both of you? What is forgiving them? Like, do you go up to them and just literally say, "I'm sorry for all these things that actually did hurt," and you're just kind of just forgiving them for yourselves?
If you don't mind, JC, I'd like to take a stab at this
Of
one.
course you do. Go ahead.
Okay, forgiving your parents has really nothing to do with the parents and everything to do with you. The reason you forgive them is because um I forgive you because I hold a lot of resentment towards you. I blame a lot of the things that happened to me. I've come to realize now that you can't help it. And the same way I make mistakes, you make mistakes. The process of this lets you see your parents as human beings and not as some authority figure over your life, as a lot of people are under. They still respond to their mothers like there's some type of authority figure over them. You're supposed to honor your parents, and by that, you're honest with them. They become your friends. My mom is my, it's like my, it's a very close friend of mine. It's like a friend. It's somebody I could be very honest with, and she could be honest with me, and we get along just fine now more than ever after the forgiveness. I went up to her and I told her, "Hey, mom, look, I forgive you because you know what? The way you were growing up, it made me a certain way too. I started to pick up your characteristics. I was like seeing you cry all those times, and you were pretending to be the victim and didn't know how to handle that. It made me vulnerable, and it made me learn to manipulate you to get a smile back in your face. So I learned to lie to you, to tell you things were going to be okay. I didn't know if things were going to be okay, but I just said it because I thought that that was going to make you happy. So my childhood became of trying to please you in some weird way. Now I have your characteristics and I carry your spirit, the feminine spirit. So I forgive you because I want to be a basically I want to be a man again. I want to have my own identity. I picked up yours when I started to hate you. As we all know, you become like what you hate. So when I started to hate you because you were so manipulative, you were a liar, you were had no love, and I became just like you because I had no other examples. And I forgive my father as well for being weak and not protecting me, basically. So I had no real guidance. And of course, naturally, I will pick up your spirit. But I'm a man and you're a woman, so that's why I gotta forgive you because I believe that forgive you, God forgives me, and God guides me back to my true nature. That was that person before I escaped into my imagination, and that's that.
I'll make it a little bit more simple than Michael's because it is a little bit different with him having still both of his parents alive and me not having neither of my parents alive.
But definitely, I'm pretty sure you both have different perspectives of forgiving your parents. That's why I just wanted to know, like, what is forgiving your parents to the
No,
both of you?
I agree with
You
everything
both
he
had,
said.
yeah,
No, I agree
yeah.
with everything he said. I just there is I think a little it could be a little bit more simpler than that. He went more in depth
Mm.
with it, but
I think he just
it's
gave an example of what he would be saying to his mom, at the end of the
yeah,
day.
yeah. So it's simple. It's killing your ego, being humble, surrendering, and understanding, like he said, that nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes, so do I. So once you realize that nobody's perfect, it makes you live a better life and a more peaceful life because you understand that no matter what, whether it was your parents or not, or whoever you hold resentment, it could be an uncle, a brother, a cousin, a sister.
Mhm.
Once you let go of that resentment, you start to live a better life, and the
Mhm.
forgiveness is for yourself more than for them. And if they want to
Mhm.
change, great. If they don't, then they don't. I think it's in that way it's a little bit more simpler than the way he went about it and said it, which is what I agree with. But I think it's just being humble and understanding that we're not all perfect. We need to love each other and care for each other, no matter
Mhm.
what the circumstances are.
And just not hold resentment towards anyone, not just
Yeah,
your
that's the
parents.
biggest thing is just not holding that resentment.
Yes, because resentment turns into anger, anger turns into vengeance, like we're talking
Mm.
about. So when you do have an anger against somebody, that's already a resentment. The anger, resentment, all in the same hell. So that is already a problem, and guess what? That's like the a poison that you're drinking alone and expecting the other person to die. It's like, do I have haters? Maybe, but does that affect me? No.
No.
That's something that's self-sabotaging you. It's only destroying you. It's not really destroying me. That's why you're protected from that stuff, because like you don't have anger. Now, if you had anger, then you're not protected. You're in the
Mm.
same mess with everybody else who's mad, and you don't
Right.
stand out. You don't shine. Your light doesn't shine. You just like everybody else, angry and yeah.
If I may say this really quick, I think this was pretty interesting. There's a podcast with Marcus Smart, right? And they were asking him like, oh, since Boston won, like, do you hold any like resentment towards that? Because they like, he was with that team for such a long time, and they got close to winning a championship, but they never did. And he's all talking. He's like, no. He's like, I was happy for them. He's like, I was screaming in the room for them. But the guy's like, nah, come on. Like, there's some
Yeah.
you're swinging at the air. You know what I
He's
mean?
like,
Like,
damn you, Jew Holiday.
yeah, like, damn it, motherfucker. Like, shit, I get traded and then they win. Like that. But I just thought that was funny. It kind of relates a little bit, because that could be a level of resentment, like that could hold him back from ever winning ever in his life, because if he just thinks like, oh, that was my only opportunity to ever win a championship and now I'm never going to get that, then it could lead to a destructive path, I believe.
You gotta get it out the mud in Memphis. That's why.
I don't have time to get it out the mud in Memphis. I don't have time to tour Schenectady.
That sucks, man. For real.
I don't have time to play in Schenectady in the fucking G League. No, some comic said that Killtony the other day. He goes, he's all like, I don't know what he said, but he's like, I don't got time to grind Oklahoma. You gotta sign me now, he told him. That shit is funny. I don't got time to grind
Well,
Oklahoma.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He said he's like I already was in the trenches with
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Like, he's already been there. He doesn't want to have to go through all that again.
Yeah. I mean, that definitely gets your resentment, bro. Like I was in a band with a guy who resented me, like, and I think he resented me because like bands are weird, bro. Anything to do with a group of men, and especially like in some type of talented way, there's a lot of ego in it. There's no denying that when a bunch of men work on something creative, there's ego clashing. That was the same thing in the band. I don't know why he resented me, like, but I mean, I could get a guess that why he might have resented me, but he was just that he carried it like that, and eventually, like, we had to fight, and I had to, put pause on this guy, and that ended our friendship. That ended the band. But he just was so damn hell driven to get on my nerve or something, like to want to fight me, like to find a reason to put hands on me. And of course, the guy was like a fucking, like a big drunk. So I get it. Like he probably fried in the brain or something. But that's what it is. People who have those things are miserable people, and that's just.
Have you forgiven him?
Oh yeah, I don't care.
Do you think he carried on?
What it is to carry.
I believe so,
on.
because I know who is he talking about, and I told him the funniest thing and the weirdest thing. And I'll add to this because it's been a current theme for me. My dreams have been really weird as of lately, and ever since I stopped smoking, they've been more intense and intense and intense.
Oh yeah.
And I had a dream of this guy that he's talking about, and I have never met him in my life.
You never met him?
Weird. No, never met him in my life, and I have the dream about this motherfucker. And I tell
Why are you
Michael,
crying? Why are you dying back there?
and I
'Cause I
tell,
just heard I heard the song.
Oh. Okay, go ahead.
and I tell Michael, I'm like, hey dog, I was like, the weirdest thing happened. I had a dream about that one fool that you always talk about. He's like, what, really? And he tells me, go check up on him. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is not my issue.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what
I
if
did tell him that. I was like, go message him, bro. But
and
that's
go
the
check up on him? He tells me
yeah.
because it was a very
I got a
sad
vibe too,
dream.
though. You feel me? I had
Uh
a vibe
huh.
like, is something wrong with him? And then I think you brought it up, and for some reason, that was my reaction. Like, go
This
check
was
on him.
never forgave him, dog.
No,
Best
listen
part.
and listen. This is the best part. I go and add him on Instagram. Tell me why one of his stories, he's like fucking fuck life, fuck everything, fuck everybody. Like
Mm,
I was like, oh god, this guy is still going through it. Like
Yeah.
he hasn't still let go of whatever he's going through. So
yeah.
yeah,
I think it's like a lot of
it's
stuff.
very
Damn,
interesting.
that sucks, dude. Shout out to that guy if he's
Stay
getting it
with
together.
me,
And I think his
Andrew.
girl
Great,
added
great
me too,
singer.
which is the weirdest thing
Great
ever
His
singer.
too.
girl added you?
Yes, bro. She follows me on Instagram, which was weird because I tried to message her back. I was like, "Who are you?" Like, but then I realized that they follow each other. So I don't know. And because I told you, I messaged him, but he never messaged me back. He never said anything. And so like I still follow. Like every time I'm scanning my story and I come across him, I'm like, "What the fuck were these people?" I don't know
She
them,
heard.
but
She heard DGOP.
no, no. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know if he told her like to follow me just to see like who I was
Right,
or
right,
whatever, you
right.
know.
Well, he
But
is. He is a slippery motherfucker. So, but shout out to him. Um, yeah, I did forgive him because first off, there's nothing to forgive. I always understood like, bro, you're just kind of miserable. You know, that's why you're picking on me and you're trying to start something with me, knowing damn well I don't want to do that. Knowing
Have you
damn
ever talked to him after that incident?
no, that was the straw that broke
Oh,
the camel's back, quote
that's
unquote,
over like
from him.
15 years ago.
Nah, that wasn't 15 years. Like when I was like 24, 25, 7, 8
Over
years ago.
It's over 20 years ago.
Yeah, and but yeah, like I wish him the best, bro. Honestly, as a matter of fact, I'm willing to put whatever. I don't even have any. I'm willing to work with him. I put it like that. Hey, if you're listening to this, and you think you know who you are, hit me up because guess what, bro? I still think you're one of the greatest voices out there.
For
So,
real.
yeah, and Brandon's a fan. So, yeah,
100.
I'm willing to work with you. I have nothing against you. Literally nothing. I've had worse with some of my friends, you know. But guess what? I don't care. I forgive all. Why? Because I've been forgiven, and I'm blessed, bro. I'm blessed. Jesus, I mean, there. Sorry, I don't want to use the word Jesus.
Nah, 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 nah,
Listen,
nah,
no, I'm
nah, nah.
saying I'm blessed. I'm blessed, right? Because things work out for me, bro. Things work out for me. I don't.
things work out for bad people as well too.
I'm saying things work out for me in a sense of it's very small things, but I pay attention to them. I pay attention like, damn, I woke up feeling good today. Damn, I made my money's worth today. Of course, as a man, your life revolves around your income and what you could do. So when I'm happy I done a good job and I'm able to provide, that fulfills me. But I also realize those things God gave to me. Even the things I think I work hard for, God still gave to me. He gave me the opportunity to go get it. So when I say I'm blessed, it's because I take into consideration everything He does for me, and I know I'm blessed, bro. I'm chilling. I don't hold those things in my heart. That's just me though, and I hope people could resonate with that and out in the world. And to be honest with you, I'm surprised we've stuck to this thing like as long as we have already, you know. And we only continue to get better. So I'm just blessed, bro. I'm just blessed overall. Give it up for the Heavenly Father. But guys, it's been an hour, 10 minutes. Closing thoughts.
Um, you know, really fun conversation today with the fellers. I enjoy these podcasts. It feels good to get to episode 10. It's a milestone. So we got 40 more until we reach
This is 11.
Great Bridges Water. Oh, it's 11.
Yeah.
Sorry. This is 11. So well, I feel good to be a part of 11. I miss history. Sorry. So 49 more to go, 48 more to
Bro,
go.
hold on. How the fuck? I was playing chess today, and somebody just wrote to me. Oh, am I tripping? Where did I see this? Somebody just wrote to me number 11. And the guy, I think it was there. Like, the guy just wrote to me number 11. And I was like, okay. I didn't even reply, but that's just so funny that today's 11. That's crazy. I don't believe in the numerology shit, but you know.
Okay, but you just popped right now for the numerology shit.
Right? Like that's just
You can't
like,
just
what
come
the
right
fuck?
after you. Come on, dog. Sit your contradicting ass down for a second, and then let me finish my damn soliloquy.
Sorry.
I got 2 minutes.
Go ahead.
Anyway, I like being a part of history. Thank you for all those who listen and just like to hear our jibber jabber at 30, mid 30s. It's not a crisis, it's just a form. So
So that'd be the new
enjoy your,
title, Mid 30 Crisis.
enjoy your Wednesday, and let me get back to editing this film. I know every time I talk I'm editing this film, but trust me, it's going to be a good one. And if you don't know, visit the website badassloganhorrorfilms.com.
I would add the same thing. Thank you everybody for listening. The ones that do listen, shout out to Mr. Marvin for sending me a personal DM and telling me that it was an amazing podcast, the one we did talking about the drug issue. And again, remember that the forgiveness is an important thing to live a better life. It's not an easy thing to do. I know it took me almost 30 years to understand this. It may take you 25 years or 30 years to understand it as well. But always seek the truth. Always look for the people that are seeking the truth, not the ones that think they already have it.
All right, guys, you heard it here. Let's give the crew a round of applause. The guys. I will be dropping this today. We do film a couple hours before the actual drop. Of course, I gotta take some time to make a thumbnail. I hope you guys are enjoying that thumbnail work. Shout out Leonardo da Vinci app or whatever it is. But I'll be dropping it around 7:30.
7:30, 50 shots.
Y'all welcome, man. But final thoughts. Let's see what Mark has to say.
You know, as far as my acknowledgement, everything seems professional. You guys have a nice day.
Thank you, Mark. And guys, appreciate you for joining us. This is 30, episode 11. And we'll see you on the next one.